Let's go. Well, breaking news, folks. Packers are keeping Christian Watson. Well, it's not going to hurt us. Not yet. Maybe it won't hurt us. I don't know. We got to catch the ball, guys. See, we have to catch the ball. We got to see.
This is Tom Grossi, and you're watching the PackReacts podcast. Let's go.
That's all they give him? That's all they give him?
Welcome to there we go. We are back on here, folks. Welcome to PackReacts. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadley. We don't have Mike tonight, so I got my brother filling in for us as we're wearing the same sweatshirt here, guys. So this is the perfect opportunity to have your brother on here to watch and also debate, since we rarely have my brother on here once in a while. But we got PackReacts here live on X and live on YouTube. And of course, the breaking news just occurred, folks. The Green Bay Packers have extended Christian Watson to a 1-year, $13.25 million contract, according to agent Adis Bakari. Hopefully I pronounced that right. This extends him to the 2026 season, and Christian Watson is still in the PUP, but expected to come back soon rather than later, what the reports were coming out. So that is the breaking news here. How are we feeling about it? As my brother Brent, welcome to the show here as he comes on. Breaking news, finally.
Hey, how's it going? So Christian Watson's staying around for a little longer. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, it's okay for a 1-year deal. Like, it could be worse. It could be like a 2 or 3 more year, but
yeah,
I think it's all right. Like, he's a solid player, but he's been so injured, and it's just
so true.
It's just a shame. Like, his peak was with Aaron Rodgers in that Cowboys game. Like, that 3 touchdowns, he's not going to top that.
No, I mean, if he could hold on to the ball too, then that would also be great too if he could catch the ball like against the 49ers,
you could say that for the rest
Vikings.
of our players too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the rest. But hey, we caught the ball.
This week we did.
So that's the good part. That's the good part. So hopefully it continues here. Knock on wood for that, of course. But yeah, knock on wood for that. But folks, we're gonna be we already did my recap of the Packers-Lions game. We'll get to Brent's thoughts on here real quick on that soon. But tonight we're going to be talking about the Packers-Commanders preview here as we got our Thursday game. So we want to do the show this early. I wanted to do it because I did not want to do the day of right before, so we would completely forget that the game was right then and there and didn't have to do a show. So we're doing it tonight just to make it more fun for you guys. So to give you some headlines here, injury reports, and we're going to go through a couple segments here for Brent too as a fan, and we're going to talk about how he became a fan, of course, because that's tradition here. We always do on PackReacts. I know it, of course, because he's blood related to me, so he gets to tell the folks. So that's going to be the fun part, guys. But yeah, so to give you some Hadler headlines here, as I like to go by my college days here, what we called it back then on my show, Hadler headlines here. All of the good NFC teams won except the Lions, of course, because we just beat their butts. The Commanders won, the 49ers won, the Rams won. The Vikings won. They're not too impressive to me, but we're just going to say here so we don't get too many Viking haters on us, even though I like that. We got the Eagles winning against the Cowboys. That looked a bit stiffer. And then the Bucs won somehow against the Falcons on that missed field goal by Youngway Koo.
Yeah, Koo. Second most paid kicker. Can't make a kick.
That's a shame there. And then other news here to give it to the 49ers around the NFC here. George Kittle heading to the IR 3 to 5 weeks with a hamstring injury. And Brock Purdy may not play this week, folks. So that is something interesting to keep an eye on. And also, Jalen Carter, remember for his spit against the Dallas Cowboys and had the fastest ejection in NFL history before even a snap start, 5 seconds before this play happened. Was not suspended, He was not suspended for the spit, but was fined over $50K. However, he could still not play this week, according to the Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni, because he gets to make the full decision on that. I doubt he's going to get suspended for that. So, and the reason behind of why the NFL didn't want to suspend him, because he basically served a suspension because he didn't play one snap in the game. So they thought that considered as a
comparable decision.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is your Hadler headlines here this week. Brent, please tell the audience how you became a Packers fan, because I already know.
Sure thing. Quick thing to note on the headlines, though. Jake Moody was also waived by the 49ers.
That is also true. As my dad's favorite kicker, he kept saying, complaining about him when he didn't even have him in fantasy football. So hopefully they still stink. They got Eddie Pinero from the former Bears.
Gotcha. But yeah, back to me with the Packers, with how that started. Of course, it started when I was a young kid, indoctrinated by my dad. Love that. And then just got all the Packers merch growing up. And then when it hit that one magical year with Aaron Rodgers at the 7th seed into the playoffs, that just really set me off. Oh, yeah, that's right. Before they had the 7th seed. Yeah. But one of the last seeds to make the playoffs and able to just run that table there, as we like to say. But yeah, that was a year I definitely fell in love with the Packers for sure. Magical year with Clay Matthews, Terrell Woodson, all those great vets that we just hold dear back in those years.
Well, absolutely. We love them, and hopefully that keeps it on for this time around and win a Super Bowl here at Green Bay.
Yeah, with Micah. We'll see.
We will see, folks. We will see here. But to go to that game, Brent, what stood out to you? What was the most impressive thing to you from that game?
The Lions game, yeah?
Yes.
I would say just the defense, just like stopping the run. Like, I know we're like a top 5 or top 10 run defense last year.
Yeah.
But just to see that against the Lions, a high offense, just like be able to shut them down was really impressive. Like, I know they lost Ben Johnson and their coordinators are fresh, kind of like in the system, but it's still really impressive to see them just shut them down, just like dominate, just complete utter control of the game, you know?
Yeah. No, nobody was talking about in the national media. Nobody was saying anything about like the coordinators really. Like when the game was game prior up, they all thought the Lions were going to crush the Packers, and we crushed the Lions. So that made up for there. And I will say, like, even though the coordinators lost there, they still dominated like extensively. And this was our bully here. So this is a very impressive win after going 1-5 last year in the division.
Yeah, it's huge to start us off right. And then we have another playoff potential team going up this week, too.
Yep, we got the Commanders this week, not the next week. The Browns, not going to cut it unless you're a Browns fan. Well, maybe for you, but not on my channel, not on this channel, folks. No. But yeah, so the defense you mentioned there, what did you think about Jordan Love's game from last week?
I thought it was pretty solid. Like, he had some throws or like, oh, we got lucky because the flag went down, so it wasn't a pick six. So a bit lucky here and there, but definitely solid, pretty average performance overall. Like, nothing that like blew me out of the water. Just, I'm also just glad receivers are actually made able to catch the balls and just complete plays, you know?
No, definitely. Yeah. I thought his game was pretty good. It's just like him holding onto the ball. I mean, we'd like to see him rip the ball. One thing I did see when I was looking at the tape, though, was Matthew Golden kept getting open on almost every single play, even when he wasn't thrown to. In some instances, it was open right next to the guy who caught the ball, for example, whether it was Tucker Kraft for the touchdown or you getting Jaden Reed down this going down the sideline. Yeah. So they had a couple moves right then and there to do that. But do you think now, because the national media took attention to this and are blaming more of it on the Lions here for the loss here than the Packers' significant win, where would you rank the Packers right now of an overreaction, normal reaction to? Because some people are already putting the Packers right at the top 3 up there. I'm not going to go there quite yet until I think it can happen, but I like to see it again and again. Top 2, I would say, probably in the NFC, but NFL, top 5, I would say.
Yeah, overall, top 5. It's not the worst. Like, I don't think it's that much of an overreaction. Like, our defense is really solid, especially with Micah Parsons now. Like, that's just a huge boost. Like, we were like a fringe top 10 team, I would say, before Micah Parsons, but now he definitely boosts us up to like a top 5 team overall, I would say. I think with NFC, it's very top heavy. Obviously, the Eagles are number one.
Yep.
I know the Rams weren't the best this week, but I still think they're one of the better teams out there.
I agree.
To consider that one as well. With the other teams, Commanders are also up there potentially. A big decision with this game to kind of weigh that.
Yeah.
So we'll see with how the Packers are really on the top with the NFC teams. So I would say at least like a top 3 for the NFC right now, I feel, with how the games went.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And to get towards this preview here, folks, because this is what the whole episode's going to be about here. We're going to go through 3 keys to win this game here. Both me and Brent are going to go through that, and then we're going to be talking about the offense of some of the players, we're going to go on the defensive side to attack it, and also on the offensive side, and give Brent some numbers here to provide for him, so he knows the numbers a little bit better here. But before I get into that, Brent, I'd like to start with a fun segment for you here, because this is what I like to do here on the channel, make it more fun here. So you're going to get a start, bench, cut. 3 players here.
Okay.
Your first player, option 1, Tramon Williams. Option number 2, Charles Woodson. Number 3, Jair Alexander. Who do you start, bench, cut?
I mean, I got to start Charles Woodson. That's just
I agree.
One of my favorite ones all time. Packer. Next to, I like Jair. He's been so injury bound. I feel like I just have to cut him.
Wow.
Yeah, then. So, yeah, that leaves the last one, the bench.
Wow. I go the opposite, just because despite Tramon Williams' Super Bowl and playoff run that year, I would give it to Jair, because Jair was more of a shutdown guy and more longevity, and also got an all-pro out of it.
That's fair. I don't know.
Unlike this past Sunday, but that doesn't count.
I mean, you should let the guys score. Then the Rams would have more time on to get a touchdown or a field goal to take the lead. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just glad we don't have to deal with Jair right now, to be honest. Like, he was such a great player for the years before, but he's just past his prime, and it's just better to cut ties,
No, it's better. It's better. And then we're supposed to get our one guy hopefully back this week. I'm getting an injury report here
Hobbs,
real quick. Yeah, Hobbs, limited participant, as I'm going to crack right into this, guys, here for the injury reports. We got Zane Anderson dealing with a knee injury. He's been a limited participant both days. However, Monday was not a practice, it was more of a walkthrough, and Tuesday was actually a walkthrough. So they didn't really participate, but this is what the estimation would have been given my head coach, Matt LaFleur, guys. Aaron Banks, dealing with an ankle groin injury here, both injuries there. Did not participate both. He suffered that in the Lions game, so I don't see him going out there. Brenton Cox, also dealing with a groin injury, did not participate. Don't see him going out there. Matthew Golden, dealing with an ankle injury. He's a limited participant Monday, full participant Tuesday, so he should be good to go. Nate Hobbs, dealing with a knee injury, limited participant both days. I think he is going to get good to go, and we need him, especially against Scary Terry and Dio Samuel, because I wasn't a fan of Keyshawn Nixon. Despite the whole defense being so great and everything, there were a couple times I kept seeing Keyshawn Nixon get burned out there against Amon-Ra St. Brown or some other guys out there. So that's something to keep an eye on there. Then Jordan Love is technically on the injury report, but it's nothing to be concerned about. He's a full participant, still dealing with that left thumb injury.
Okay.
Don't see that be an issue whatsoever. Bo Melton, the CB now, guys. Brent, you know that very well now.
Yeah.
Shoulder injury he suffered this past game. Did not participate both days, so he will not be most likely going there Thursday. Micah Parsons here. Limited participant Monday and Tuesday here. I still think he's going to get a snap count, kind of similar to what the Lions game was, but I expect a little bit more reps out there.
Sure.
Compared, because he was usually used on third downs exclusively. So I could see him a couple on first or second down plays too, but I think it's going to be in almost every third down play. I don't see on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. I don't see on any of those short plays whatsoever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then to keep it going here, guys, Jaden Reed dealing with a foot injury. He did not participate Monday, but was a limited participant Tuesday. I think he'll be fine to go this week. He did play this past week, so we will need him to get it going here for us. Baron Sorrell dealing with a knee injury. He was a limited participant both days. He did not play last game, but he's been doing that since training camp. Zach Tom, we of course know he had that hip injury. He fell just over Jordan Love. Thank goodness on that. That was where the pick six would have happened had the flag not been thrown. That happened. and he did not participate both days, so he won't be good to go. So the Packers are looking at their 2 offensive linemen are going to be out. Quay Walker dealing with a quad strap injury here, folks. He did not participate Monday, limited participant Tuesday. I think he'll be fine to go. Daniel Whelan dealing with a right knee injury, full participant both days. Dontavian Wicks dealing with a calf injury, limited participant both days here. So I think that is going to be fine there. So there's a lot of guys that are injured, but most of them are going to be fine, except our 2 offensive linemen. And then to get to the Commanders' injury report real quick, guys. John Bates, the tight end, shoulder injury, full participant. Nothing to worry about. Noah Brown, the wide receiver, dealing with a knee injury, limb participant both days. Jane Daniels dealing with a right wrist injury. He was a full participant, so nothing to be worried about. Trying to hope for him to be out. Packer fans, nothing to worry about there. Austin Eckler dealing with a shoulder injury. He was a limited participant both days. However, he is not the starting running back, as we saw against the Commanders-Giants game. We're going to get into that a little bit later. That was Little Bill, as we like to call here on the show, because his real name is Bill, and we know what the other name is.
His real name's not Bill. That's his nickname.
Oh, it's not. I thought that was his real name. Okay.
No, it's just a nickname he got from watching the show growing up.
Well, there we go.
His real name is, I forget, it's like Croskett something.
Jacory Krosky something like
Merritt,
that. Yeah. And then who else is a lot of vets had the rest, so that's nothing to worry about. Trying to think who else is up there. The punter for the Commanders, he did get hurt in that Sunday game. Deal with a back injury from that. He did not participate Monday, but was a limited participant today. So we'll have to see how that holds up, because that could play a little difference here for the special teams game for the Packers. And then you got Weiss, deal with a knee injury. He was a full participant both days, so he should be good to go. And that is your injury report here, folks. Presented by me, because we have no sponsor, nor are we ever going to get one. But hey, let's present it out here, folks. But let's get into this preview here. What do you make of this spread coming out here? We got the Commanders and the Packers here. Commanders coming off that win against the Giants, even though it looked a little bit rough, and the Packers dominating the Lions here. What are your expectations heading to this game here?
Well, I hope that the Packers obviously keep up the momentum and win over the Commanders. I feel like that's obvious, but I'll state it anyway. And then I think with just having Jordan Love continuing to play well, with being able to connect the receivers with a long ball, and just like keep up the running game with Josh Jacobs, that's just the key, just balancing those 2 things against the Commanders. And hopefully their defense just can't keep up with our offense, since their defense is one of the oldest in the whole league.
No, I definitely agree on that. So to give it to you more on the offensive side, we're going to go from like our defensive side approach. If we were Jeff Hafley here, you got to deal with Jane Daniels, Krosky, Little Bill as we're going here, Scary Terry, Debo, Zach Ertz, because Jane Daniels likes to sort of Zach Ertz.
Yeah, red zone target.
Yes. So what are you going about again here to neutralize the explosion plays here, try to limit amount of plays that they can do here and stop this offense, really?
I think it's all about containing the rush. So just stopping the run, make sure Jane Daniels doesn't have any openings or just slip through, or like have Debo like cut around into that they did against the Giants in their game. So it's mostly just not like rushing entirely, just like only save it for like a third down or something, just like sparingly. Just got to make sure you can contain, and then let the guys in the back able to stop them from catching the ball.
No, I absolutely agree with that. I think it's mostly about, excuse me, I think it's mostly about containing Jane Daniels and stopping the run. And then, of course, trying to stop Scary Terry, even though he didn't have a game last week, really. You got to stop him up that. I will say, though, on the offensive side for them from the Giants game, they suffered 12 penalties in general, but they were 4 for 11 on third downs. They had 0 turnovers and 3 for 4 in the red zone. Just to give it to you on that perspective there. And then to the defense here real quick, they gave up 74 rushing yards and 168 passing yards.
I mean, that's against Russell Wilson, so how much can you really weigh that?
I'm not weighing that. I'm not really weighing that much of anything. I'm just going to put the numbers out there so I can say
fair. That's fair.
We statistically say it, but that means absolutely nothing to me when you have Russell Wilson as your quarterback. So
yeah,
I don't see it. Plus, we have experience against Dan Quinn and his defense. We have experience against that when we play the Cowboys in the playoffs. So
in the Cowboys,
So what is your game plan here if you are the Packers offense?
I think just being able to run it so much because like they have really old players, so like they can't really keep up as much. So if we can just keep them like really sluggish, because they're just constantly like running the ball with Jacobs, I feel like that'd be really effective. And then just like
Mhm.
throwing a deep ball when we can, just like when the opportunity aligns itself, when there's a man-on-man action, just take opportunity, just capitalize on it.
Mhm. No, I agree with that. I think the run game is definitely important there. I think the only issue with me on the run game here is going to be because we lost Zach Tom and
Mm.
Aaron Banks. That's going to give us a little struggle here. However, we did have our guys go in. Anthony Belton went in. We had Jordan Morgan go in.
Yeah,
The
they
guy
seem to
from
play
the
well.
the guy from the Eagles. I don't remember his name, but Kennard, excuse me. He
Yeah,
went in as well. He also played well. So I'm not going to be too concerned, but we're gonna have to see how much that plays a factor because the trenches is definitely the battle here, is
sure.
what I'm gonna be seeing here. Because you mentioned both, we got to contain Jane Daniels and we also got to stop the run. I feel like if you able to stop that, especially with the Packers, they're gonna be great. And plus, Micah Parsons has 4.5 sacks in his total career against Jane Daniels, but he has 10.5 sacks, I believe, in total whenever he's played the Commanders.
Okay, it's a lot of sacks on Jay Daniels.
Yeah,
Just
so
with only
that
one season, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be definitely effect there. I feel like with Micah Parsons there, but you also got Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness to play into that.
Right.
For me, going back to the offensive side though, I think with us, you got to definitely run the ball. You got to like keep the clock going. What is it? It's foot in the gas, is what I like to say, is the old cliche here.
Sure.
Got to score early. Got to put
Yep.
the points very quickly. I think that is definitely a key, and we saw that this past game here. The Packers really do well when they get on a groove really early and quick to a lead. Wouldn't be shocked if they take the ball first. If they win the coin toss, would not be shocked by that.
Yeah.
I would like to see a little bit more Matthew Golden, though, just to see
Sure.
some more passes. I do like how Tucker Kraft was involved in this offense. I really think that he needs to be involved, like a Travis Kelsey, for example, from the Chiefs. Not too involved, but like you can revolve the offense a little bit around him where you can get a couple yards off or a red zone target heavily, too. He will be there for you.
Yeah, he's a great player to capitalize on. He did really well against Brian Brandt, so I'd say he's a great target to use against the Commanders.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you already got, as you mentioned before, the veteran guys. So you got to deal with Marshawn Lattimore. You also got to deal with Von
Bobby
Miller, but
Wagner.
they're not the same. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore is a little bit better than that. You
Right.
got a couple more veterans out there in the presence there. I think the best part about this Washington defense is the pass rush and the run defense. That's the best that they have there. However, in the secondary, that is the weak spot, I will say. So I think
Okay.
throwing the ball a bit more, spreading the ball out like the Dobbs, Kraft, Golden, Reed, Wicks, any of those guys, I think that's going to be another recipe for success for the Packers as long as they keep spreading the ball around and able to run, play combat football, and don't turn over the ball. I think is going to be very key in this game. If Jordan Love's able to not throw a pick or fumble the ball or turn the ball over from running backs to wide receivers, I think this would be very good. As long as we don't turn the ball, it's going to be very helpful for us.
Yeah, obviously, I'd say that. I think also another point to add on is how well we did against Aiden Hutchinson. And I know he's
Yeah.
coming off of a season-ending injury last year, but with the amount of time that Jordan Love had in the pocket, it just felt like forever. He just could take as much time as he wanted to and then throw where exactly he wanted it to connect with his receivers. So I think that was a really great sign. That'll be useful to capitalize in the next game with the Commanders. Just be able to have Jordan Love throw as much time as he wants, since I don't think the pass rush is going to be as effective as the Lions,
No.
but we'll see. So I think
We
that's a
will
good
definitely
point to note.
we'll definitely see there. But as Bryn just mentioned about that, the only caveat to that was Zach Tom was on. Um, he
Aiden
was on.
Hutchinson.
Yeah, he was on Aiden
Yeah,
Hutchinson. So that's my only defect about that.
that's fair.
However, we're gonna be fine with Kennard from what I kept seeing from watching the
Hmm.
game the other day. I think that's be fine. I think it's a good move from that as well. So I think that's gonna be a good ball there for us. But what do you make like from going back? We'll just go real quick back from this past Sunday's game into this game real quick. From Jordan Love's perspective here, there were times where he could have ran it. Would you
Right.
have liked to see him run a bit more? Because I did see him in the pocket. He did feel comfortable in the pocket. He was making the good throws and all. But would you like to see him run a little bit more? There was that wonky run where
Yeah,
he
the awkward
slipped.
ran where he kind of
Yeah, where
slipped
I
at the
thought he,
end.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely love to see him run more. That's just how offenses are and operate. And now with like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, even Patrick Mahomes, he'll run a bit here and there. I think you just have to in this kind of environment with the
I agree.
football. So you just have to have your quarterback be able to run and throw at the same time. That's just how it's evolved, and you just got to
Mhm.
capitalize on that. Where Jordan wasn't really able to last year, obviously with the injuries to the groin and
Mhm.
his arm.
Yep.
So well, let's just see how that kind of works out. But I would definitely love him if he could just run even more and just capitalize on that when he can, if it allows it to, where he can just find the gap and just slip through some defenders and just keep it going and slide and play safe.
No, I agree. I don't want him to run like Caleb Williams out here, but run a little. Just run a little. If I'm
Yeah.
Jordan Love, just run a little. Is what I like to see out there. Um, yeah, I would just like to see him run a little bit more. It would be nice to see if Jordan just do that. I think that would be a nice caveat to it as well. What would you say, Brent? Again, is your three keys for the Packers to win this game?
I mean, obviously, you got to keep up the run game with Josh Jacobs. And then, if we need to, we can cycle him out with Wilson and just constantly have like a running back committee back there just to cycle it. So we stay
Mhm.
fresh and we're not just overusing one guy. And then he gets slow and isn't running as much as he could if he needed a break. So just kind of rotating out the running back room if you need to here and there. Just keep that pressure on the defensive line, just
Mhm.
dominating that aspect. And then another key moment I would say we need to capitalize on is just having receivers kind of like do more action plays. Maybe it's like a jet sweep here and there, just kind of keep the game fresh, keep the defense on their toes, trying to make
Mhm.
sure we can capitalize on a mistake they might not realize with how Matt LaFleur schemes up his gameplay and how's
Yep.
the offense just kind of capitalize on that with just different plays and confusing the defense.
Would you like to see this offense go more long drives, specifically in this game? Because compared to like with Jane Daniels, you know how that offense can get going and everything. Would
Right.
you like to see the Packers offense go not so fast, but go a little long drive to drain the clock a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's also another way of how football has evolved. Like Patrick Mahomes used to go for the deep balls, and then now he's more like a Tom Brady with the check downs. And that's really how you kind of win games in the long term and win the Super Bowl. It's just kind of managing the clock, not turning over the ball, and then just dominating that aspect. Even though it's not super flashy, not super fun, that's how
Mhm.
you win the football game. Is just dominate the clock and then just be able to make the plays we need to and get that first down. You just continue to take away time from your opponent because if they don't have time, then they can't score.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you there. My keys, real quick, and I already mentioned a little bit, is spreading the ball around. I think spreading the ball is the number one key thing for me. I'm going to go what I just said about the long drives. I think long drives can be key. And not letting Jane Daniels get out of the pocket, containing and stopping the run is going to be both my third and final key here because, again, we know what Jane Daniels is capable of, and we have seen what this Packers team has done in the past compared to the Russian quarterbacks. However, the one caveat I like to say here, as I keep mentioning on the show here, is Jeff Halfley has been good with stopping mobile quarterbacks this past year. We saw it last year against Jalen Hurts. Anthony Richardson, when he was mobile, guys, even though he stinks right now, he was mobile. We saw it against many other quarterbacks. So I think that's one thing I'm a little bit happy about with Jeff Halfley right now.
Yeah, I definitely say he's been a great addition as a coordinator. He's going to be a head coach candidate probably, if not at the end of this year, definitely the next
Yeah.
following year. So hopefully we can capitalize with him on a team still and be able to coordinate with our
Mhm.
defense and just capitalize on having Micah Parsons and just continue with evolving our defense to be one of the best, if not the best.
No, absolutely agree. They have to capitalize here for this. And to get a little away here from this preview here, Brent, we're going to go into the schedule of his Packers. As you mentioned, the Commanders here. Right before I get into the schedule here, what is your prediction here for this game, though? What is your score prediction?
I think it's going to be a high flying game with offense going
Okay.
crazy. Maybe
Okay.
not as much as the Bills and Ravens, but I'd say a potential like 33-27 kind of game where it's like a touchdown out where one team could score, but then there's a turnover at the end and everyone in the crowd's going crazy. So something like
Okay.
that where it's almost high flying potential, and then someone makes a mistake at the end and turns over the ball.
I agree. And of course, that's the Packers are winning, correct?
Yes, of course, Packers are winning.
Okay. For me, I will go 30-24. I do think a little similar way that's gonna be a little more higher offense. However, I think with Micah Parsons in now, thankfully, we still have thank you, Jerry Jones. I think we're gonna have more pass rush evolved and make it a little bit more stops in terms of points because the Packers are very good at how many points they allowed. And they did a very good job, I will say, on Sunday against that Detroit offense with when you have Sam Laporta, Knuckles, and Sonic also Monroe St. Brown, and you got Jameson Williams, who just signed a
Yep.
3-year contract. They did a very good job at containing them in the red zone, and they gave one garbage touchdown at the very end.
Yeah, a
But
real
they did
lucky
a good
one
job.
too was to Tesla, where he barely got it in, was dragging his legs down there, but
Mhm.
we still won and dominated, so it's whatever.
No, definitely. And to get into the schedule here, Bryn,
Yep.
if the Packers win this game, how far do you think the Packers go on a winning streak until they lose here? Because this schedule here,
Oof.
as I bring it up here,
Yeah.
we just had the Lions here, so that was the one good win
Yep.
there. Commanders, Browns, Cowboys, Bengals, Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers, Eagles. And then you got the Giants, then the Vikings, then the Lions, then the Bears, the Broncos, Bears, Ravens, Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on a tear here potentially with how many games are lined up right now. I'd say the Bengals do scare me a little bit with how high flying their offense can be as well with Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, T. Higgins.
Mhm.
But I think we can dominate with our defense with having Micah Parsons probably going to be more healthy at that point, be
Yep.
able to be more impactful for that game. But honestly, it's either the Bengals or the
Oh.
Eagles is what I think would be our first loss to. Because the rest of
Mm.
them might be like a fluky game, but those are the two games I'm eyeing out for the potential loss for the Packers. Because the rest of them, I feel like we could just dominate and just be the better team.
The only one team I do see that you didn't mention, Brent, I would say is maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Now, I
Sure.
get it was against the Jets and everything.
Right.
However, that they still Rodgers is one that revenge against the
Oh
Packers here.
yeah,
So
he's petty. We know that.
yeah,
After
so
that cough,
yeah,
after that talk he
exactly.
had after the game.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I think that's definitely. I think the Bengals one. I definitely agree with the Eagles take there.
Yep.
The Bengals one. I think we have as you mentioned, with Micah Parsons here
Yeah.
when he's getting more stronger and everything. The Bengals still have a bad O line. They still have that struggling O line. So I think that's an issue right off the bat there.
Hmm.
Plus, that Bengals defense almost lost the game and is still not that great.
No, yeah. I mean, they had some lucky interceptions there with the one that like bounced from the one guy's hands and the other one caught it midair. And it's just crazy how lucky they got. With also the missed field goals. Like the
Mhm.
Bengals had every right to lose that game, but they got lucky as fuck.
Yep, they did. They did got very lucky. So, but yeah, they got very lucky there. The Steelers, they could still be they could
Yeah.
still pop one, and then the Eagles, of course, they can pop another one too.
Yeah.
But I really think that this team could go on a tear for a bit, and then also later too. I mean, the harder schedule really gets back into right around November, late November, is where
Yep.
you got the deal with the Vikings, the Lions. I'm not
And
gonna
the
say the Bears
Bears,
because
all back to back division games.
yeah, I'm not gonna say on the Bears that much, but you got the Broncos too, and then the Ravens, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
So yeah, I think our easy part of the schedule is gonna be very good. Is gonna be that Eagles game. I think is really gonna test me of my for the Packers because that's gonna
Yep.
be that could
How
be
far can we go? Yeah.
exactly that could be like a number one seed right there for us if
Yep.
we win that game. I absolutely think we could if we are able to win the division, able to contain ourselves basically and beat the Eagles. I definitely think this could be a number one seed team or number two seed team at least in the NFC.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
it's just a matter of winning whoever comes out in the AFC. And I know that's the crazy side of the NFL with the Bills, the Ravens, even the Chiefs, with how injured they are. Like all three of those kind of teams, and plus some of the other ones, are all scary. But I could see us winning that game too in the Super Bowl, depending on how well our players are healthy and everything's going.
Mhm. No, definitely. I think that's with the schedule here. Again, I think we have an easier schedule, especially after this game. It gets a little bit easier. Plus, we get a bye week very soon. Unfortunately, but fortunately, I will say because of our injuries right now. So I
Yeah,
guess
already kind of getting some injuries off the bat, so it might be good actually to get some rest for those players.
plus it's the week before the Bengals too, so I think that helps us out a
Yeah,
lot
extra time
more.
to prepare. Yep.
So I think that's gonna be a nice caveat once again for the Packers there. I mean, you got the Browns in Cleveland, then you got the Dallas, and then Bengals again, Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers, Eagles, Giants, Vikings, Lions, Bears, Broncos, Bears. Then you got the Ravens and the Vikings here. I think again, this Packers team, like if they're able to win this game in the Commanders, I think they can go on a stretch before the Eagles game. And if
Yeah.
they beat the Eagles, then it's really gonna come down to the divisions here. It'd be awesome. I feel like it's gonna go the opposite of this division. I think it's gonna go 5-1
Okay.
of what it was. I don't know about you, but I think it's gonna be we might lose that Thanksgiving game to the Lions, or we
Sure.
lose one game to the Vikings. I feel like.
Yeah, I could see us losing a game to the Lions or Vikings again. I don't know. For some reason, I'm feeling like we could lose 2 games to the Vikings just with how crazy dominant their defense could be, and it just could shut us down. But I could see us just either dominating the rest of the teams with the Lions and the Bears, or losing both games to the Vikings
Mhm,
somehow because of the defense. But yeah, I feel like we were do a lot better compared to last year with winning the division.
mhm. No, definitely agree, and I want to get your thoughts here too, as I have you on here for this until we're going on for an hour here, folks. 30 minutes
Yep.
left here. What are your thoughts on Brian Gutekunst as a GM for the Packers? Do you like him? Are you happy what he's been doing, or are you like what would you give him a good rating of happiness, annoyance, want to get him fired?
I definitely, after the Micah Parsons, that kind of flipped everything for me with how I felt about him.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's a blockbuster trade, and it's something that many teams wanted to get. Like 5 others were like put in offers and were all rejected, but he was able to get
Yeah.
something from the Cowboys to get us Micah Parsons. So
Yep.
clearly, that shows how well he's inside the office and just trying to make deals happen and just kind of elevate this team to a higher level.
Yep.
Like concerning last year too, we got Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs, and that elevated our team way higher and be able to
Yes.
make the playoffs because of that. And just go on a kind of run with. I know we didn't do as well as Jordan Love's first year starting out, but
Yep.
that just elevated our team to be able to make the playoffs, which how
Yep.
dominant Josh Jacobs was. And despite the injuries we had, we were able to kind of get in the mix there. But
Mhm.
I definitely say I'm a lot happier with him now than maybe like 2 years ago with how things ended up with Rodgers. And it was like all the phone calls that didn't happen or did happen and how that just ended up going. But I think I've definitely warmed up to him and just appreciate how well he's kind of putting in his effort to make sure that this team has the best shot it can to win the Super Bowl.
No, I think he's done a great job as a GM. He's more going out, I will say, of like trying to go out and go sign guys like you mentioned, like Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, whereas like you in the past, like Ted Thompson or uh, Mike Sherman before, they didn't do that much of like going out and go reach guys. Brian goes right out of the gate. First year, he goes to sign um, Zary Smith, Preston Smith, the Smith brothers, Billy Turner, Adrian Amos, and we become like a Super Bowl contending team for the couple years. I think he's done a great job. I think like the annoyance has been the first round picks,
Sure.
um, and the third round too is another annoyance too. I will say there's been some reaches. There's been some terrible drafts he's had, but then he's made up and he had a very good draft the year Tucker Kraft got drafted. The
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers trade, he did very well in that. He got Lucas Van Ness,
Yeah.
but he also got Edrin Cooper out of that deal as well, basically from the extra second round pick the next year that kicked in for us.
Yep.
So, no, I agree. He's done a great job, especially with like now you give up Kenny Clark and 2 first round picks for that. How I will say though, Brent, before the whole Micah Parsons deal happened, he was trying to get Trey Hendrickson, and the only reason he didn't want to do the Trey Hendrickson deal was because he didn't want to give up Kenny Clark in that deal.
Okay. Interesting. Because
Yeah,
what's the age difference between Henderson and Kenny Clark? Do you know off the top of
Fo-
your head? They're
I
probably
think
comparable.
I think they're the same. I know Trey
Yeah.
Hendrickson's 30,
Okay.
Micah Parsons is 26.
Right, right. So I mean, obviously it's a better deal to get Micah and kind of spending the first 2 round picks than trying to get Trey Henderson. I would have liked
Yep.
Trey Henderson, but I think I'm definitely rather have Micah over Trey, just with how young Micah is and the
Yep.
potential he has to kind of elevate his game and elevate the Packers defense and just help us go on a run down the line, if not this year, but continued years as well.
No, I definitely agree here. I think with Trey Anderson, like obviously like the age, I think did play a factor. Plus, I think had you done like something similar, I think he would have gotten more money than what we gave to Micah Parsons. I think he would have
Sure.
definitely wanted more money too. So I think
Yeah.
that's one nice thing. I'm more happy that we got Micah Parsons. I was shocked though from hearing about the rumors that no AFC team like Baltimore, like Buffalo, like the Chargers, or even the Chiefs too, which I don't think they would have done it, make an offer for Micah Parsons at all.
Yeah. I mean, Ravens, I don't think the Bengals would give it to the Ravens just inside the division. So I
Well,
don't
I'm
think
saying
that
for
would happen.
like Jerry and Jones. I'm saying for Micah
Oh,
Parsons.
for Micah Parsons?
Yeah.
None of the AFC teams put an offer on for Micah?
None of like the best AFC teams put even an offer on
Huh.
because he was trying to get to the AFC. Jerry Jones was, and
Okay.
nobody was willing to make an offer for him.
I mean, a lot of those teams don't have like the most budget to kind of put in, like to give so much up for him. So it makes
Yeah.
sense that they didn't kind of go for it with how Buffalo already has like over the cap, I believe, and they already got
Yep.
Joey Bosa. And
Yep.
then with the Ravens, I feel like they're pretty stacked on players already. It's trying to pay everyone.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the Chiefs, I feel like they should have gone for it, but I know they have Chris Jones on a big deal still, and they have
Yep.
like some young guys in the defense. But I don't know. It would have made more sense if the Chiefs try to go out for him. But also, the Chiefs are struggling more on the offense, I'd say, than the defense.
Hmm. No, absolutely, definitely. And to continue with another person here, what are your thoughts on Matt LaFleur here from this entire time he's been the Packers head coach from day one to now?
I mean, I think he's done a solid job trying to go from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love in that transition. I think he did an excellent job in just trying to make sure he was able to boost up Jordan Love while also trying to help Aaron Rodgers to do as best as he can with the two MVP seasons he had.
Hmm.
So overall, I'd say I'm glad we have Matt LaFleur. Like we could have done a lot worse with some other potential candidates, I feel like, during those years. But
Yeah.
I'm glad we have him. I think I mean, obviously, our big gripe about him is his challenges and how he can never succeed on those, but
That and decision making at the end of the ball game sometimes is another
yeah,
thing that annoys me too with him. That's about it.
yeah, I would say that, and then sometimes his game plan was trying to do some jet sweeps or some weird plays where he's trying to be a little too cute
Yeah,
with it, some just, like, run
he
the
was too
ball down
cute.
the gut. And then sometimes going on for 4th down might not always be the best play, but then sometimes it works
Agreed.
out, so it's always a gamble there. How the NFL is kinda elevated to that, more of going down on 4th down, committing to just dominating with your offense or against the defense.
No, I agree. To go back to the other candidates that you're mentioning, some candidates were in this NFC North pool. Dan Campbell was one, Kevin O'Connell was another, and Brian Flores.
Hmm.
They were all candidates. We went with Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd still want Matt LaFleur. I mean, I feel like the other one I'd maybe potentially want more than is Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback whisperer, as people like to say, with
Yeah.
how he's able to scheme up and come up with plans on the offense, kind of like a Sean McVay, since he was under his tree and was able to develop his game plans from that.
Hmm.
And then Dan Campbell, I feel like he's a real gritty kind of culture, which I don't know
He
would
is.
mesh well with the Packers,
No.
but he's a solid head coach, I'd say overall. Like he does his job in Detroit, and he's been able to kind of elevate them in their own way through his his method of going through his developing players and kind of going into the draft with that. But
Mhm.
overall, I'd still say I'd like Matt LaFleur as head coach.
No, I agree. I think Matt is the guy because he's won us multiple division titles. He's taken us to the NFC Championship game multiple times as well, and he's had playoff seasons except for 1 year. He's been to the
Yep,
playoffs every single year. So that just goes to show how great of a head coach he is, and I believe that he should have won Coach of the Year at least one time in this
sure.
entire time. He should have
Which
at
year would
least
you
one.
have said he should have won then?
2019 is up there for me. because that was when we went 13-3, when
Sure.
nobody expected us to. Plus, everyone was giving all Rodgers the hype and everything. I think that was because no one knew what was going to happen. They thought the relationship was going to go bad. It wasn't going to go great. I think that is probably my year. I would have given it to Matt LaFleur. Then the other one would have been 2023. I think it's another case where
Yeah,
you have Jordan
Love's
Love the first
yeah.
year,
Yep.
and he makes Jordan Love go from one of the like mediocre guys in the first 8 games of the season to at the end of the season, the playoffs, to a top 3 quarterback in the league easily, or the best. Had he put up in that second half, in the first half as well, he would have won MVP. In my
Sure.
opinion, he would have won MVP. I don't know about you, what years you've won.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you with the last one. His first year with Jordan Love as a starter would be in my case where I'd say he should have won probably. But yeah, what he was able to do was the transition from Aaron Rodgers, a Hall of Fame quarterback. You can't replace that. With
No,
Jordan Love, he did pretty well at boosting up the team and trying to get close to that, was continuing to playoffs.
no. And he was one game away from going to NFC Championship game in his first starting career with the Packers.
Sure.
I mean, it was just close, and
Yeah.
hopefully we get to the Super Bowl and we win the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. Hopefully, but we gotta wait and see for that, of course, guys. It's
Yeah.
only week 1 here. We're not gonna get our hopes that much high so fast. Not so fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we gotta see how that goes here. But again, folks, we have once again the Packers beating the Commanders here in this particular here. Let me ask you for this fun segment here,
Sure.
because we got a little bit of time here as we already covered with the preview and the Lions game here. What, besides the Super Bowl, what has been your favorite Packer moment?
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers MVP season, the COVID year, I feel like was one of my
Okay.
favorite kind of Packers moments. Kind of like if you just throw it all as one, just him able to like dominate and just show off how well he is as a quarterback with all the plays he had with Devontae Adams. Just that connection they had was truly incredible. Just to be able to watch that as a Packers fan, and some of the games they were able to win were just fantastic, and some of my favorite moments as well throughout the years. And just Aaron Rodgers' career is probably like the biggest reason why I'm a Packers fan, which is how fantastic he was with the Packers and just be able to pull off some crazy, insane plays with the Miracle in Motor
Yes.
City and the
Yep.
Cardinal playoff games. You know, we didn't win those, but just him be able to like come back and just show he is a Hall of Fame quarterback with those plays is just really incredible. It was a great time to be a Packers fan and watch that. And hopefully we continue that with Jordan Love, but time will tell.
No, definitely agree. I think Rodgers, if we're going to go argument wise here, I think he's the 4th greatest quarterback of all time and the most talented quarterback of all time, in my opinion here. To give you a little fun fact here real quick, guys, Aaron Rodgers is 2 passing TDs away from passing Brett Favre all-time list to move into 4th place here for most passing TDs all time in NFL history.
There were the other 3, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady.
Yes, which he could break Peyton Manning's he could pass Peyton Manning this season if he has 23 more touchdowns.
That's definitely possible for Rodgers. With how well he's playing against the Jets, their defense. Definitely possible.
He could pass it, and then if he goes one more, which I don't think he's going to one more year, then he has a good shot to get 2nd place of all time because Rodgers is currently at 507. Drew Brees, 2nd place, 571. It would be tight, but I think he would have a shot.
Sure.
He has a shot, but I don't
just think he's
gets.
probably going to retire at the end of the season. But he's had an incredible run and just being able to be a crazy, incredible player that he has been.
No, I also agree. And then he's also he could pass theoretically Philip Rivers in the passing yards, where he is about 240 away or 241 away from passing him. If he gets that, which he could do, but I don't think he's going to get that. And then he should pass Ben Roethlisberger this season, where he has 64,088 passing yards, where Rodgers has 63,196.
Okay.
So if I were to say if Rodgers had like 3 more years left in him, which he doesn't, but if he did, I definitely think he could finish 3rd place all time on the board here for passing yards as well, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, probably not. But he's had a great career overall, despite only winning 1 Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
Drew Brees only won 1 Super Bowl, so there's a lot of great quarterbacks who only won 1 Super Bowl, and some don't even win once, like Jan Marino. So
Yeah.
it's not always about the big game at the end. It's just kind of like the longevity and be able to prove how consistent you can be throughout the years.
No, I definitely agree with you. And then to give you a fun question here, how would you do for Micah Parsons here? How do you see his fit, as you already saw here in this past game against the Lions? How do you see him evolve this Packers defense with Jeff Hafley?
I think with just how big name of he is and just how dominant he can be, he definitely draws a lot of eyes and attention from defense or offense linemen, and how do you take care of him, and how do you double up him, or how do you just kind of make sure you're keeping your quarterback safe from him. So with all of that, he definitely allows other players to kind of get an edge, or like not be as double manned as they might be, like Lucas Van Ness or Rashawn Gary. Let them take an opportunity and
Yep.
escalate how dominant the defense can be, and like have the quarterback make a mistake, like throw an interception like Jared Goff did, and just kind of put that pressure on the offense so the defense can just dominate and get a ball through turnovers and just make sure they can't score points by just kind of elevating everyone by just having one major guy and just help other guys just kind of do the same thing, which is boosting each other up and just dominate.
No, absolutely. And do you think this defense, the Packers, which saw from this past Sunday and what it's yet to be potential, because we haven't seen the full Micah Parsons yet, because he was only playing like 29 snaps. Do you think this could be a defensive led team instead of an offensive led team?
That's a good question. I mean, with how we've been the past years, I feel like we've been more offensively oriented with how Matt
I
LaFleur
agree.
likes to scheme about.
Yep.
But with having Jeff Hafley kind of join the party, I feel like it definitely leads us to be more defensive with how now we have a big star with Micah Parsons. So I could definitely see us being more of a defensively based team that kind of dominates on stopping offenses from getting their first downs and maybe cause turnovers to let our offense get back on the field and get some points, and just slowly degrade the clock and just kind of dominate in that way, where we're owning the ball because our defense is stopping your offense, and just make the slow plays, kind of like what we were talking about before. We're just kind of get the check down plays and just make sure that we have the ball at the end of the game and just kind of take the D and just win that way.
For me, I mean, this defense reminds me of the 49ers. It reminds me of when, not like this past year or this season, because they dealt with all the injuries and guys left and everything. It reminds me of that 2019's 49ers, or maybe even when they went to the Super Bowl just not that long ago. It reminds me of this defense, Brent, because that defense is the same scheme as what Jeff Hafley is of what he wants to create pressure in. Packers didn't have their Nick Bosa guy. They didn't have the guy. I mean, you have a strong Gary thing, but he's no Nick Bosa to be that much of an impact to
Yeah.
stop the game. Now you got that Micah Parsons. That was
Yep.
the missing piece he had. The secondary was not so great with the 49ers. It was solid to get you through. That was the weak spot entirely. The middle linebackers, I mean, you had Fred Warner, you had a couple other guys there too. You got Edgerrin Cooper, you got Quay Walker there. Secondary, they had Richard Sherman. You got Nate Hobbs. Hopefully he comes to play this week, because I think he is slept on, because I don't think many people are giving him hope. I know when we've with Mike, with him being on our show and everything, he has said in the past on the show that we basically replaced him with Eric Stokes. And I think that was a major upgrade over Eric Stokes, but basically you're just replacing Eric Stokes. And I think this defense could be very good, like that 49ers defense and everything. I just have to see how the secondary revolves around. Now, of course, you got Evan Williams. You got that nice interception. You got Xavier McKinney. The CBs is my issue. Defensive line, I'm not so worried about it, because I feel fine of how our defensive line has been than what it was in 2019 when we gave up those many rushing yards in the championship game against Raheem Mostert and before. But I think our defensive line will be solid with Devontae Wyatt, Colby Wooden. Despite giving him Kenny Clark, and though he was great and everything for us, I think we're going to be fine. I think the D line's going to be fine. I think my only weaknesses is the secondary here.
Yep.
Offensively, you have every piece. You have every single piece you need to succeed on this team here.
Sure, yeah.
It's just health for the offense, I feel like, and Jordan Love. And I said it on my channel here. I think Jordan Love can be a top 6 quarterback this season. Not in general. This season, he could be easily a top 10 quarterback, and that's what he needs to be in order for this Packers team to get to Super Bowl, go deep far in the playoff run.
No, I definitely get that. I think Jordan Love definitely has potential to do that. Just a matter of executing and be able to play smart, not just throw dangerous balls that could be potentially picked off or turned over. So it's a matter of him being able to like look back and just make sure like kind of play it almost where it's like, hey, I got to make sure I can put this ball in the right spot, not make it dangerous. Because sometimes he has the potential to do that or like the likelihood to do that. So I think he can definitely be a top 6 quarterback. It's just a matter of can he connect to the receivers and can they catch the ball, which I know they were able to do so this game, but it's a matter of if they're able to continue that and perform as well as they should.
No, absolutely agree. And before we run out, guys, of our show here, thanks for staying tuned on here as well. And thank you, Brent, for joining, of course. What do you think are the 2 most important players here for this Packers team? It can be one-on-one for the offense and defense, or both on offense, both on defense. Who is your pick here? I said it before. It was Jordan Love and Rashawn Gary, just because Micah Parsons is opening lanes and he's going to be double teaming. So somebody's got to fill the gap in. And that was my pick for Rashawn Gary, of course.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I think the first position you always have to cover is the quarterback. That is the most important position. I think everyone can agree that, where you have to have someone throw the ball and call plays at the line of scrimmage and be able to either run or throw and just perform to their ability to make sure that we can score points more than the other team. That is how you win this football game. And then on the other side, I would agree that you have to have either a defensive player that can make a play or cause a turnover and make sure that we can win on both sides of the ball with offense and defense. And with defense, I'd go probably Xavier McKinney. I know he's more of a veteran player, but I like his potential at being able to stop receivers on the other team from making the big plays like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. Just be able to make sure that we can stop their offense from producing as many points as we potentially can. So I like Xavier McKinney a lot. He did really well last year. He got so many interceptions with he had like a 6 streak going with like 1 per game. So hopefully he can kind of produce that or like kind of make sure that the defense avoids him or the offense avoids him from throwing the ball near his direction and just kind of keep producing.
Oh, definitely. As we're about to run out of time here, guys, I want to give one last question here for Brent because I couldn't. I got to ask him this question here. Do you have any bold takes here for this Packers team this year? Defense, offense, standings, players. You got any bold takes here for this Packers team? I got one, and that's Edgerrin Cooper. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler, maybe a second team All-Pro this year.
Okay. For me, I see potentially Golden could be a offensive rookie of the year.
Okay.
Obviously, we want him to catch more balls and get more touchdowns than how he kind of produced in the Lions game.
Yeah.
But obviously, I feel like he's a really good player with how much we valued that pick. Take him in the first round. We don't do that. So I feel like he has potential to kind of take his game to the next level if we kind of look his way more with how you're saying with Jordan Love kind of missing him in some plays.
Yep.
So if we kind of look to him and rely him more to be like a wide receiver 1 potentially, that could definitely elevate his game and elevate us, and definitely can get him to be the offensive rookie of the year if we use him the right way.
No, absolutely. Definitely agree with you on that take there. We've already had that take before in the show, but definitely agree with your take there, Brent.
Yep.
Folks, we will be next week. We will have a show. We're going to go back to Thursday, of course, because we don't have a Thursday game. Brent, thanks for tuning in, or excuse me, not tuning in, joining us for the show. And yeah, we will be back Thursday here. We won't be having any guests next week. We will have guests more as we get to October, November, and at the end of the month, we got a couple guests there, folks. So if you want to join the show. As we always say, you want to share your fan, whether you're a Packers fan or not. It sure does help, as Tom Grassi would say. But if you'd like to, just DM us or comment here as live stream. If you want to hop on, we will gladly have you hop on. And Brent just volunteered just to hop on since I need somebody on here. So, Brent, thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to join. A lot of fun talking about Packers.
All right, folks. Hopefully the Packers beat the Commanders here, but that will soon here as we say, go Pack, go here. On the count of three, Brent, hopefully we say it right. So I'm going to give 1, 2, 3, then we're going to say it here. All right?
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Go Pack.
Go Pack, go. We had it there, folks. We had it. All right. We'll see you next